This is your boy Chili Willie, ECW original, everybody's favorite homeboy. And yo, you need to check out the Big Fight.
This is Liam McGarry, and welcome to the Big Fight Weekly.
Yo, this is Stephen USSR Robinson on poweredfull.tv, a Big Fight Weekly for a special fight at Focus with Chris and Stu. Tune in. Boom!
A warm welcome. This is episode 35 of Big Fight Weekly on powered4.tv, but we've got a special double header today with myself, Stuart Palmer, and Chris Hume, my cousin and co-host, and it is a special fight of focus with none other than one of the hottest prospects on the UK scene at heavyweight, Mr. Steve USSR Robinson, all the way from Newcastle, from the Toon, our special guest today.
Stu, Chris, you alright?
How
do I do, matey?
All good, mate. We appreciate you sparing the time, Steve, coming on. We know you're busy training and you've got a lot on. And I think the best place to start with this, Steve, is your recent win on the Boxer card at the Utilita Arena up in Newcastle. What a fantastic display. Reece Barlow was very game, though, wasn't he, Steve?
Yeah, definitely, which played into my hands. I mean, the minute Reece said at the press conference in the way, and the minute he said he was coming out to fight, that's just, that was perfect for me, because when you come across a negative fighter, you become negative, and when you come across somebody who just goes on the back foot and becomes a negative fighter, I think it brings the worst out of you. So for Reece come out and he come to fight, and it played into my hands.
Chris? He caught you with a good one at the start, didn't he? Just with a check hook in the first couple of minutes of the first round. Yeah. How did that feel? Did he have any power?
Listen, he's a heavyweight boxer. 16 and a half stone man. It's if he caught us flush, I would have felt it. But I think what shots may look flush on TV. I think you just have to look at Joe Joyce and Dubois. I think people thought Joe Joyce was getting caught flush, but we're trained day in day out to ride shots, and what might look flush on the TV catching you're sort of taking the blunt of the punch by bobbing or weaving or catching it on your shoulder or catching it at the end. So as I say, what looks flush on TV, it's very different when you're in the ring. It doesn't feel as flush.
Well, we'll talk about flush, because your finish, mate, in that fight was flush, because it was like a swooping uppercut, and it sort of flung him to the side of the corner, and pretty much made him fly. Dead impressed with that. And that's the first fight I've seen you fighting. Obviously, Stuart sort of brought your attention to me. I was just dead impressed with you. You were a big guy. And we see the likes of Tyson Fury, and you see you sort of your type now is you guys can move fast with your height. I'd like to say I was dead impressed with your speed and your footwork as well, to go along with that finish, because the finish was sublime.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's funny, because I went back to the corner and I actually thought it was the left hook that knocked him out. I can't even remember coming back with the right hand. I can remember slipping. What we're working on, what we'd been working on, was to slip and high that left hook. And I remember slipping a shot and high on the left hook. And I went back to the corner and I says, was it the left hook? And Mark says, me coach, he says, no, you come back with the right hand. And I can't even, until I've watched it back, I can't even remember sort of, working. But we work every day on kinetics. I mean, Mark's a massive believer of kind of psychology and making sure that whatever shot you hoist, something naturally comes back. So if you're holding the left uppercut, the right hand comes back. If you're holding the left hook, the right hook comes back, or the right uppercut. And, you know, it's never one shot unless you're getting your distance and you're jabbing and you're jabbing. There's never one shot. There's always something coming back. And Mark and Giuseppe, my coaches, are a big believer of, as I say, you know, the kinetics of your body and how naturally something comes back. So, you know, when I've watched it back, it worked well and it landed flush. And like I say, fair play to Reece, come out to fight and good on him.
Steve, I was going to ask you as well, being at the utility there, you know, your home city, your hometown, what was going through your mind, you know, being up there in Newcastle for the fight? How was that? And now obviously, you know, COVID, you know, lessening and being in front of, you know, thousands and thousands of people. What was going through your mind on the way to the ring, you know, and post-fight as well?
Yeah. I had 44 amateur fights, and I lost 6 of them on a split decision. And I was always a slow starter because of how relaxed and laid back. I mean, Mark, my coach, he'll force us to warm up. I'll be sitting in the change rooms with some One Direction or something on my headphones, just listening to some.
It's a bit different.
Some chilled acoustic music, and Mark will be like, "Stephen, how we've got an hour? We need it." And for me, it was a dream. It's surreal. Like, I still have to pinch myself every day to realise that that's what I've done. But when it comes to nerves and when it comes to you know, did I let the atmosphere get a hold of us? It was just, it's hard to explain, because like on the Monday, people were coming up to us in the gym and people were coming up to us in the street and they were saying, "Oh, you must still be up to height." And I was like, you know, if I worked at T-Mobile and I made 10 iPhone sales in a day and I made me quarter for the month, would I be up to height Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? It's, for me, it's work. It's not a hobby. It's work. It's a lifestyle. So although it was, you know, it was a blessing and what happened was a great buzz, at the same time, come Monday, it's back on to work towards my next one. And as I say, work's work, and regardless of what you do for work, you know, you make a sale or you do something well at work, you just get back in and make the next sale and make, you know, work on what you've done wrong, what you've done well, and bind it all together to go to the next one.
Absolutely. Now, you said, obviously, you know, it was a devastating KO, but I've heard from you in interviews and stuff after, you're saying you want to showcase your technical side as well, because you can do that. So, yeah, just doing that style of boxing, maybe, you know, in the next fights. Yeah, I know you're like, you really want to show your technical side as well as your power.
It's been hard because I've had four fights now, and you know, 3 of them have been finished within a minute and a half. The third one was, as I was saying earlier at the start of the live, was against Phil Williams, who is the most negative boxer I've never ever come across a boxer like it. And he got into my head because I was so frustrated in him grabbing us. I was so frustrated in him just backing up and covering up, and it really psychological. But it was a learning fight for us because, you know, I looked for the knockout. The knockout didn't come, and I looked shocking. Like, if I watched that back, I looked absolutely atrocious. And, you know, I know fine well, I've seen it in sparring. I know I've got a technical side to us. I know, you know, and that will come. And I don't read negative. I don't read comments. And, you know, my mum does, my friends do, you know, my family do. And the amount of negative comments of a fight that was on for a minute and a half. And his footwork's terrible. He's leading with his chin up, and you just think, how can someone justify commenting? I caught Reece with a check left hook. I think it was 39 seconds in. Now, I'm an analyst, you know, I'll go and I'll watch me fights back over and over and over and over again, and I'll sit and I'll write everything down of what was working, what wasn't working. But obviously, you know, it's a minute and a half in, and I caught him with a check left hook, 39 seconds in. Now, a minute in, he spat his gum shield out, and I hit him with a 1-2 to the body, and I heard him wince. Then the gum shield went out, and listen, of course I seen red, I knew he was hurt. So the next 30 seconds was me going to knock him out. And you know, it was only 20 seconds after his gum shield come back in. I hire a big left hook, I miss him, and then the next one is the left hook and the right hook, which knocks him out. So for these people who are sitting behind the keyboard, listen, if Johnny Nelson or Carl Frock come up to us and said, listen, Stephen, you know, you need to do this, you need to do that, or somebody who's a connoisseur of boxing, an analyst of boxing, who comes up to us and tells us, listen, I'll hold my hands up and say fair play, I'll learn from it, I'll take it away. But when you've got these people sitting, you know, who are the same people who would probably sit and call him Anthony Joshua, you know, two-time world champion and a gold medalist, and sit and call him Tyson Fury and against Otto Wallen when he didn't fight his best. And the same people just seem to be popping up on everybody's, you know, they seem to be perfectionists while they're sitting eating a packet of Doritos with a can of Fosters in their hand. But
who drinks Fosters these days? I always thought it was
exactly them people who are writing on calling them Fosters. They're the type of people who are typing bad things.
Chris will tell you we have it with, you know, there's always negative in there, and as you say, it's just they've never boxed around in their life. They've never trained boxing. So I do, me and Chris, you know, we see it all the time as well as you see it. But, you know, I think like you've got to switch off from it, haven't you, I guess?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's in all walks of life, you know. You just have to look at that poor Jesse Nielsen from, you know, Little Mix. I mean, that, you know, when you watched her documentary and she was talking about taking our own life, and you just sit and you honestly, you're heartbroken by it to think that the impact these you know, without swearing, these D-heads have on people without
swear
even
away, mate.
realizing.
You can swear, mate. Don't worry about that.
It really is unbelievable that they don't take any consideration of what they're doing to the mental health of the people, you know. And they're the same people that will probably be sharing posts of Caroline Flack and of Mike Theasis. You know, these people who have taken their own lives because of mental health, they'll have been sharing, you know, to get behind them, and then this, you know, in the next breath they're sitting typing, he's shit, he's this, he's that, he's footwork, he's this, he's that, he's slow, he's and you just think, what, you know, what, why even but listen, everyone's due an opinion, but I don't think anybody can take an opinion from a minute and a half fight. From when I had him hurt 39 seconds in, and as I say, you know, I knew the stoppage was coming. As soon as the gum shield come out, as soon as I heard him wince, I knew that you know that stoppage was coming in the next minute. And
Sorry, Chris, because I've asked a few questions, so yeah, I'm sure you got plenty to ask, Steve.
Well, I obviously, she's probably well informed. I'm the mixed martial arts side of things, so I know you don't know enough about UFC to have a conversation now. But where did you start? You know, obviously we'll get into you playing football in Hong Kong, but you know, what made you make the switch from, say, playing football in Hong Kong to becoming a professional boxer?
So I come back from Hong Kong in 2014. It was January the 8th, 2014. I come back off the back of I had snapped the ligaments in my ankle 4 or 5 times, and there's a martial art. Funnily enough, as you speak about martial arts, my coach. He's a recognised martial art. He owns something called Hung Sao Do, which is he's called Giuseppe Bavona. I mean, you know, you can research him. He's a 7th Dan in Hung Sao Do. That's his own recognised martial art. And I've knew Giuseppe for years, and I started speaking to him, and he says, "Oh, come down the local boxing club." He's also the boxing coach at Vision where I box now, and Mark, me manager and second boxing coach, he owns Vision, and I went down just because I ballooned up to 135 kilo after playing football sort of at a high standard from the age of 17. The weight just flew on as I'd done nothing for 6 months as I recovered from an injury. So I walked down the gym in February at 135 kilo, and by July I had my first fight. My first fight I was 132 kilo, and I stopped the guy in the first round. And I remember it was at Bishop Auckland Social Club, and it was against a Traveller, and I remember the atmosphere and, you know, the whole buzz of it. I just thought, wow, this is unbelievable. Like, And I've always had a winning mentality. I remember whenever we lost for football, the lads would be out in the pub drinking, and it used to piss us off that they would be enjoying themselves. And I used to think, how can we've just lost a game 4-0, or whatever we've lost, or, and you were talking about where you're going tonight, and, where we're going tonight, or we're going to One Chai, or we're going to downtown Mount Cop, and I'm sitting thinking, I don't understand it. And from walking into a gym, I knew after that first fight, that was it. And I've never picked up an alcoholic drink since. I've sacrificed so much. I've sacrificed stag do's, holidays, birthdays. I've lost relationships. I've lost friends off the back of it. And from July 2014, my first amateur fight, I think I've pretty much been in a 7-year camp where I've just said, right, that's it. I'm giving it me all, and I've done that, and I've thoroughly enjoyed the ride, and it's what I've achieved in within sort of, let's say 5 years, because COVID's been 2 years. So I've been boxing 7 years. I walked into a gym 7 years ago, but let's say 5 years I've been competing for, and I'm a massive believer of anybody in all walks of life, whether it be work, whether it be to join a team, join any sport. Anybody can do anything if they've got the right mindset and the right people around them. And I think if you've got negative people around you, you become negative. And if you've got people telling you can't do this, you can't do that, you won't do this, you won't do that, I think you won't do it, you can't do it. You believe in what they're saying. Whereas if you've got positive people around you and the right mindset, I think anybody can achieve anything. I really do.
Good mindset to have that, you in life in general, and then obviously with your boxing. Good words there, Steve. Chris, I got another question for Steve before I ask the next one.
I'm seeing a load of comments here for you, Steve.
Fire him up, absolutely.
All right, T.O. I'll start from the beginning.
Okay.
We'll go with Pete Layton's had the first comment. So
hello, Pete. You've been viewing us now for quite a while. Good to see you. So, all right, lads. Hope you're well. Question for Steve. How does he fancy his chances against Del Boy or Dillian? Also, if he continues knocking out opposition fast, does he feel he could earn a title? Good question, that, Pete. So, Steve.
Listen, the thing is with boxing, it's like anything. It's like you see upsets and let's look back at football. You see upsets in the Carling Cup. You might see somebody like Blythe Spartans beating Blackburn. You might see somebody like Leyton Orient, getting a draw against Man City. And it's the same as boxing. You've got levels like you have at football, but there's upsets. It's heavyweight boxing. The thing is with boxing, you need to once you're there. There's no coming back down. Once you come back down, you can't keep. You've got to keep rising, and you've got to keep going up. And listen, people will criticise me for taking the Reece Barlow fight on, and digressing a little bit from this question. I boxed 44 amateur fights within the space of 4 years. Then I turned professional in September. I boxed my first fight October, my second fight in December, my third fight March the 1st. COVID hit March 15th. So I boxed 47 times within 5 years. So I haven't boxed for 18 months, which is why I took the Reece Barlow fight. And as I say, people might criticise me for taking that fight and think, well, he's took a step back. Listen, it's heavyweight boxing. There's no step forward. There's no step back. Anybody that steps through that ropes is a warrior, is a Spartan, and they deserve They deserve the same amount of credit as the person who's 40. 1 to 4. I was 1 to 40 to beat Reece Barlow. 1 to 40. That is absolutely crazy. Why? It's heavyweight boxing. That's like mental. That's crazy odds at the bookmakers. But at the same time, take nothing away from Reece. He come out fighting, and Del Boy and Dillian, two fantastic fighters. Dillian Whyte deserves a title shot. Del Boy, you know, he's had some bad losses, and did he lose against Usyk? I would have liked to have seen that rematch. I think Del Boy deserved that rematch. I think the two fantastic boxers, and if I'm going to speak the truth, I don't think I'm at that level yet. I'm still 3 fights into my pro career. 4 fights in. 1 fight went the distance, which was shit, which I can't even look at. So let's talk about 3 fights. Okay. I've technically boxed. In them 3 fights, I boxed 1.5 rounds. I boxed for 4.5 minutes. You know, I've getting early knockouts, but is that going to come as I step up? Of course it's not. You know, as I was saying earlier, people learn to ride shots, people take, you know, I know that's not going to come, and that's when I'm going to have to box. And I know I've got that side, and I know I've got that ability, but have I got that for 10 rounds? No, of course I haven't, because I've never experienced. Yes, I've sparred 10 rounds, but listen.
Yeah, but it's different in an actual fight, isn't it? Yeah.
Sparring 10 rounds in a gym where, you know, you go your own pace and you've only got 4 people watching you, to sparring 10 rounds in front of 13,000 booing and chanting, and the atmosphere, and it's so different. So, you know, I've got a fantastic team around us. I've got great sparring, and, you know, I do see myself getting to that level within the next 12 to 18 months, 100%. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But if I was to step into a ring now with Dillian or Del Boy, hold me hands up, I don't think I'd beat them. I've got a puncher's chance. Like,
Absolutely, you have.
I don't miss all these lands. I'm picking that's that. You know, that's not me being a dick, being big-headed. That's not me bragging. I know very well I carry power. You know, I'm 10% body fat and 17.5 stone. So, you know, that's my natural weight. I can't get any, you know, lighter than what I am. And yeah, I can get heavier, but this is a natural man. This is my natural, you know, size. So I know I can put anybody to sleep. But as I say, stepping into a ring, I think, you know, I don't think I'm ready for that challenge as yet. But listen, ask us that question in 12 months, and I'll more than happy fight them. But as I say, to talk about now, and as for the question about if I keep getting early knockouts, is the title going to come? That's up to Boxer and Sky Sports, but hopefully I've said I want to fight for a title in 4 or 5 fights, definitely.
Thanks for your question there, Pete. Chris, what else have you got from the viewers? He's got a good one. I sense a good one here.
Well, it's Brett, so you know what's coming to you.
Yeah. Brett comments every week, Steve. He's a huge fan of the Paul brothers. He loves the Paul brothers. He loves what they stand for. So yeah, hiya, Brett. What does Steve think about the Pauls being involved with boxing? Who wins, Tommy Fury or Jake? And have you heard Mike Tyson Logan could be next February? So yeah, he's just encapsulating what the Pauls are doing, you know, in terms of social and what the media are doing. So yeah, your thoughts, Steve?
I think it's for me as a boxing fan and a boxer, it's great, because they're bringing in people that might never have watched boxing before. You know, he gets 1 million views on his YouTube channel, so they're 1 million people. There might have only been, you know, 250,000 actually enjoyed boxing, so he's getting another 600,000 people coming to support boxing. So for me, you know, is it dangerous? Yeah, it's dangerous. You know, he's fighting these people who, between them, but the fighting exhibition fights, and you know, I think the whole Tommy Fury thing. I think Tommy Fury, you know, he hasn't really fought anybody as a professional yet, and you know, people criticise him for going on Love Island and loving himself and having the body he's got. But listen, the kid's been around a fighting family since he was born. He knows nothing different. He was probably in a barrel of hay when he was, you know, 6-year-old, fighting with his neighbour who they had beef with. This is just the way they're brought up. And you know, has he boxed at the highest of levels that he could have? No. But is he probably a very technical boxer, and has he got the right mindset, and has he got the right people around him with John and Tyson and, you know, all the others? 100%. And I think he'll be far too experienced for Is it Jake or Logan he's meant to be fighting at?
Jake, I might have to interject with you though there, Steve. That just because of unfortunately watching enough Jake Paul fights now. I think with Tommy Fury he doesn't have the same footwork as his brother, and I know you can't really class them as the same because everyone's different. I just think as well as I think Jake Paul's antics, and I think the pressure John Fury puts on him, and I said this to shoot off camera about saying, if he loses to Jake Paul, he's going to retire him on the spot. And I think the pressure of if he loses, he has got to change his name for 12 months. I think it's a hell of a lot of pressure for a young lad against someone who can thrive off pressure like Jake Paul. I think that could be a problem for him in this fight where he's going to feel that pressure. And I think he might struggle against Jake Paul. Not in the boxing aspect, but I just think there's the whole level of pressure going into it.
At the end of the day, though, sorry. At the end of the day, though, the Furies know the Pauls hold the cards, don't they, Steve? In terms of, the money that he can generate, he's never, he might never possibly generate the amount of income off the back of fighting him. Sorry, I jumped in then. But yeah, just to, Chris has been very much for Jake Paul, haven't you? Whereas I'm a boxing purist. I want Tommy to do well. We kind of split, me and Chris. But yeah, sorry, Steve.
It's not like I'm a big, massive fan of Jake Paul. I mean, it's the people he's fighting. I assume he's going to win because of Ben Askren. He fought was never a striker in MMA. He was a wrestler. It had no stand-ups at all. So I knew that was going to happen. Tyron Woodley was one of them, but Tyron Woodley's been gun shy for years when it comes to pulling the trigger. And when he did hit Jake Paul, he pulled away instead of going for it. And Tyron Woodley's like that. The Tommy Fury is just like. He did not impress me at all in this last fight against a Bellator bantamweight fighter, which he had the size over him as well. I know it's only 4 rounds, but he didn't look good, and his footwork, and he was getting caught with that. It was an overhanded right as well, and that just worries me going into a fight where it's high pressure, and someone who like Jake Paul who can take that pressure in and really give it. I don't know. It just worries me in that situation.
No, I definitely agree. I think if the fighter's mindset, going into a fight, isn't 100% on the ball, you just have to look at Tyson Fury against Klitschko in the whole way, in the whole press conference, the whole sit down. That man got into his. I think Klitschko threw about 48 shots in 12 rounds. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You look back and Tyson Fury had him beaten before he made David Haye quit twice. Yeah. Because he could listen to David Haye have an injury. David Haye is sitting now calling him out, saying he wants that fight.
Yeah,
it's £1 million in the bank for the kid. Of course, he wants that.
But he's got a problem with the Furies though. David Haye, he's always going against Tyson Fury.
Yeah, but listen, money talks, and if somebody rang me tomorrow and says, Tyson Fury's Otto Wallen wants to fight you for £2 million. I'd take it tomorrow with a 2-week training, no problem. But that's David Haye is doing the right thing, calling him out, and if he gets £1 million in the bank, fair play to him. But like I say, going back to what we're talking about the mindset, and like you say, is it in his head, and has Tommy got the right mindset to go in there and take that pressure off him? And listen, Tommy loves his lifestyle. He's a millionaire off the back of Love Island, and his TikTok,
absolutely,
his Instagram, and all this, and he doesn't have to box. So that's another thing. Him sitting saying he's going to retire. Well, yeah, great. He retires, and then he's the next ASOS model. Molly May is the next, what was Tickle Pink or whatever it's called model. And they're making stupid money off the back of TikTok, stupid money off the back of Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So that for me, they don't. He's sitting saying he's going to retire. Oh, great! His brother's a multi-millionaire. His dad's probably not short of money. And he's making millions a year off the back of social media, and opening clubs and traveling the world and going to Ibiza and Marbella and doing these daft club, doing an hour on the DJ booth for $100,000. And listen, like you say, it's mind games leading up to the fight. But I think I think all Furies and that's going to Huey as well, and I think all of them have got good chins, and I think they've all got the right the fighting mindset off the back of the way they've been brought up, and Jake and Logan, I don't think they've got that mindset. I think they've been brought up and with a lot of money and a rich family, and the probably only fight that they had in school was off the back of them being the rich kid, and I have the. It can go either way. As I say, anybody's got to fight. Anybody's got a puncher's chance. But I just think Tommy's mindset, and he's the fact he is a fighting man will sort of overstep the line to him. But listen, everyone's worthy of an opinion, and as I say, he's bringing in new fans, which is great. Both of them are bringing in new fans to boxing, and it gives people like me the opportunity to gain more following and more watchers who wouldn't necessarily have been watching 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with you.
What else we got, Chris?
There's one from Dan here.
Oh, hello, Dan. Yeah, Dan, Terra Sporting. What does Steve think of some of the British boxing promotions or promoters like Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren? Obviously, you're with Ben Shalom, boxer now. The deal with Sky, which is huge. But yeah, your thoughts on Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren and how they promote and what they've been doing?
Listen, the millionaires off the back of what they've done over the years. Do you know what I mean? And they've both done well, and I think Frank Warren. With the way he gets the pull, like Daniel Dubois, for instance, he's now ranked WBO #1. I don't know how that come about after losing against Joe Joyce, and then the next thing he's fighting for a WBO interim title off the back of that, and there's. I think. For me, I think Frank Warren signs people, promotes them. He didn't give Joe Joyce any gratitude to the back of the Daniel Dubois. All he was talking about was, Dubois come back, Dubois. And I'm thinking, Joe Joyce is your fighter, and you're not giving him any. And this is Eddie Hearn done the same against Billy Joe and Canelo. All he was talking about was Canelo. And I'm thinking, Billy Joe's your fighter as well. Why is he? Why are you not talking about him? Why are you not talking? You're giving him no public. You're giving him nothing to. And I think that's the issue with promoters. If they've got two fighters, they've always got a favourite, and or the push fighters forward. Look at Josh Kelly. It's a local lad, and was he pushed too much? Was he pushed too quick off the back of anything? In the soon quick enough to drop you like that.
Yeah.
I remember going back to football. I remember being at Leeds Academy till I was 16, and I remember being told, David O'Leary was the manager at the time, and I remember him sitting with my dad. I was 14, and when I was 14, I was miles above everybody, and I hit 15, 16, and I sort of leveled off, and people started to get higher. And, at 15, 16, I left school with no GCSEs. I was a little shit. I was naughty because in my head I was going to be the next, England #1 keeper, because that's the way that you're fed with shit, you're fed with lies, and that's not just football. That's in boxing. That's in all sports. And I turned 16 and they went, "You either get a contract or they release you," and they said bye bye. And I'm sat thinking, "Fuck! I've got no GCSEs. I've been a little bit. I got kicked out of school. I've got nothing to fall back on. Where do I go from here? What do I do?" And boxing's the same. They build you up. They put you in against someone. You then fall. Then they throw you out, and you're sitting thinking, "Shit! I've put everything. I put all my eggs into one basket, and now where do I go? Do I go? Do I take the punch of going on ticket sales and fighting on small hall shows when last year I was fighting for a British title on a matchroom card, but because you've got too much pride and you don't want to do that, you just end up getting a 9 to 5 and something that you don't want to do, and this is when mental health kicks in, and this is when you don't know, And I think them two are the worst for that. I really do. I think they build you up, to kick you up the arse and throw you out, and it's we're sitting and talk about mental health, and I think that's the worst thing for it, because once you've been there, you're back down there. They should be building you back up to there, but they don't. They just say bye bye, and a lot of fighters, and because there's only sort of 3 main promoters out there now with Sky Sports and Ben Shalom, Frank Warren, and Eddie Hearn. Unless you're saying, well, you've got the likes of Al Siesta and stuff and Black Flash who are building up and taking your place and taking people places. But, as a boxer, the dream is to sign with one of them 3. And I'm in a fortunate enough position where I've signed for them. But I think them 2 are really bad for building you up and throwing you away. And I think that's really, really, I think it's a shame that happens. And if you've lost a fight, there should be, but look, I'm just hoping, because I think Anthony Fowler's an absolute gentleman, and I really like him, and I seen he posted that he's stepping up weights. I just hope that Eddie Hearn sticks with him and gets him another good couple of fights, because he's got a lot to offer, and I want to, as I say, I want to see. For me, I want to see everybody do well. And anybody else, I know the sacrifices every single person's making. And I messaged, I've done a post on Instagram wishing Reece Barlow the best of luck. And, I hope he bounces back, and I hope he gets some wins on the back of his belt. And for me, as I say, I know the sacrifice every single person makes who steps through that ring. I know the 8 weeks camp, the sacrifices they make. I know the diet, and I know the social side of things. So for me, I just want to see everybody do well, which is probably the reason why I don't sit and call people out, and I'm not going to sit and start telling such and such is a dickhead and I want to fight him, because that's just not me. Because for me, I think anybody who steps in that ring deserves the credit that they get.
Absolutely. Good question, that, Dan. Sorry, Chris.
No, Steve, the way you were talking about it, we're talking about Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren and all the obviously different organisations and the different organisations that hold belts. I made sure I spoke about this plenty of times. Would you feel like the way that UFC do it, or just say mixed martial arts companies do it, it's just one person or one company that runs the whole division set? Would you feel like boxing would be better if it was just that? Instead of having to go to A to B to C, you're in the UFC, you speak to Dana White or Sean Shelby or whoever the matchmakers are, and it's just that one person. You're not having to, jump here, jump there, go for all these different hoops, to get a match or to sign up with someone to get into boxing.
I think it would work better, but at the same time, I don't think it would give the opportunities for the people lower. So talking back to when WWE was WWF, they had the European, the Intercontinental, and the heavyweight title, right? 3 titles. You had your European and your Intercontinental, who was sort of the lower fight, as the Al Snows, the Ken Shamrocks, and what have you, the Gold Dusts and all them. Then you stepped up to Vader, Kane, to the middle ones, and then you step up higher again to your likes of Austin, Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, what people watched boxing for, wrestling for. People would go and pay £12 to watch Survivor Series, WrestleMania, for the likes of Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Triple H, Generation X, Stone Cold. You paid for them. You watched it for them. You stayed up till 1 a.m. to watch in your house, SmackDown versus Raw, SmackDown Raw. You stayed up to watch it. And you knew what was coming. And for me, boxing's similar to that. Boxing, you pay for the big fights. You don't pay for the 7 undercard fights. You pay for the main fight. But you sit and watch the 7 undercard fights, and you enjoy it, and you learn, and you watch it, and you think, oh well, actually, I like that kid. He's good, and I think for me, boxing should there's levels in boxing, and as you say, the UFC have got one belt, but does that give the amount? You've got Bellator, and you've got other sort of governing bodies springing off the UFC, and to get in the UFC, you've got to be the creme de la creme of mixed martial arts. So, for boxing, I think could there be sort of like a smaller show like Bellator is to UFC, and like boxing, you've got Glory, and you've got the the other governing bodies. Could boxing have that? Possibly. Or could they just go down the route of there's 3 titles, there's the one for the people at the top who are ranked, 1 to 6, and they've got to fight 3 times a year for. Listen, Mike Tyson was fighting 8 times a year, 10 times a year. Now some fighters are fighting once every 2 years. I don't get it. See, for me,
Crazy.
If Ben Storm rang me tomorrow and says, right, you're fighting on the 20th of November, the 11th of December, the 28th of December, obviously injury permitted, I'd be like, perfect. Not because of the money. The money's irrelevant. Like, I'm talking about because for me, that's where you learn. You can sit in the gym 8 hours a day. You can spar 20 rounds a week, but you're only going to learn from there. And I think there needs to be more fights happening for people to be able to build the way up and to get them titles. So, to your question, should it only be 1 belt? I don't think so, because I think boxing's a lot bigger than the UFC. There's a lot more invested in it. Whereas, I think looking at the wrestling side of things, I think there should be something like the Intercontinental, the European, the heavyweight, the best, the top 10, then the next, the middle, and then the people at the bottom. That's who the fight for. But these interim titles, they're talking about taking them away, because what do they mean? What? So Daniel Dubois in contention to fight Tyson Fury next? No, we know Dillian Whyte is. So by having these interim titles, Cash Ali's the IBF interim. So what? He's next to fight Usyk. They mean nothing. It looks good. It's great for sponsorships. It's great for you as a boxer. You've got this belt, and it's great for building you as a person, as a fighter. And it's great. It looks great, but when it comes to actually meaning anything in the boxing world, it doesn't, and it's unfortunate.
We have the same problem in the UFC, though. We've got one this weekend, Peter Yan versus Corey Sanhagen, because Aljo is injured, he's got neck issues, so they've moved that the fight Peter Yan versus Sanhagen as an interim title. See, I have this problem with interim titles. I don't like them. I think if you're the next in line for the title and you have to fight someone, then that's the number 1 contender fight. There shouldn't be any belts involved. So if you win that, you fight the champion. If you lose that, the person that beats you fights the champion. I've never been a fan of interim belts. I think the only way they would work, I'd say now for mixed martial arts standard, if the person who's the champion is out for an extended period of time, with circumstances, sort of injury, or something's happened. Yeah. That's the only time they work. Like UFC filling interim titles quite often, and I think it's not just me, it frustrates. The whole fan base gets frustrated because, the champion should hold the belt, not the interim. You fight for the title, and that should be it. Yeah,
definitely.
Right. Anyway,
Steve, can I just ask before you fire a question up? Your nickname. Obviously, there's 2 nicknames now, so I want to know how the USSR title nickname came in, and obviously Drago 2.0, because of your likeness to Drago from the Rocky movies. Was that yourself calling yourself that, or did somebody else give you the nicknames? No, how did that come to be?
It come off the back of just when Mark would get phone calls, my coach, and they just sort of say, have you got that heavyweight ready for sparring? That one that looks like Ivan Drago, and would go to the ABAs, or when we were boxing for England, would travel, and people would be like, it's Ivan Drago, Jesus, Dolph Lundgren, it's Ivan Drago. And it just come to the point where it was normal. It wasn't, I wasn't even getting called Stephen. I wasn't getting called, it would just be like, is Ivan Drago training? And when I turned pro, the whole gimmick thing, and listen, Newcastle shorts, Newcastle top, Newcastle walk in, great. Oh, right, he's from Newcastle, he walks in with the Newcastle shorts, black and white shorts, cliche. Right, wow, great. He's a supporter of Newcastle. I think I don't have to prove to anybody I'm a supporter of Newcastle, but and the whole USSR thing was, I think it was just a gimmick where we thought, right, we've turned pro now. let's go off the back of the red and yellow, the Ivan Drago shorts. Rocky wasn't a sensational hit, and I've been called it now for sort of 6 years within boxing. So we just decided to go along with it and give it a go and see how it went. And it's worked well.
Yeah, but you do look like him though, so you can't get away from that though. Right, yeah.
I'm trying to look for a photo of my real dad just to show you I look nothing like him to find out where my man must have been at a Comic-Con back in 1990.
Where Dolph Lundgren, yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant, mate.
There's loads of comments here.
Right, we're going to have to get through these because time constraints. So, yeah, we'll get through all these now. Heels, Rules, Afternoon, Stu, Chris and Steve. Is Steve planning to take on Wilder? Battle of the knockout artists. Also, serious question, is Steve more technical than people give him credit for? Good question, that Heels Rules.
Heels Rules, nobody's getting to see me technical side. I've 4.5 minutes and 3 knockouts. It's hard to show a technical side. But if you go back to my first fight, Sean Duffy, everyone said, I think the guy had 6, won 4, lost 2, was on the back of beating a 4-0, and people were saying, oh, it's a hard fight to take, and it took us 2 minutes to stop him, and I boxed. I knocked him down with a jab, and he got back up. I hit him with a 1-2, 1 to the body, a right uppercut, and the referee jumped in because he was out on the ropes, and I boxed really well on that one, and but. Because it was on an MTK sort of small horse show, people didn't see that. And if you YouTube Stephen Robinson, there's an amateur fight against Delicious Oreo, and it was for the English title. And if you look at me weighing, I weighed in 106 kilo, which is 7 kilo lighter than I was, and I had taken nothing away from Delicious from that fight. I had food poisoning 2 weeks leading up to that fight, and Mark wanted to pull us out, and for me, I've never pulled out of a fight. I wouldn't pull out of a fight. And I went down there, and you can watch it. I didn't hold a punch. I was absolutely fucked mentally, physically, I had nothing in it. So anybody that watches that, people will post comments on people, on reviews going, well, just watch him against Delicious Oreo. It was 4.5 years ago.
Yeah.
What can you learn in 4.5 years? It's but as I say, I'm actually quite a good boxer. But listen, I'll show that, when it comes to it. And I think people will say that I'm good at working on the back foot, I'm good at working on the front foot, and I'm good at working on the inside. And as I say, for me, it's not a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And I spend 2 times a day every day, which I've done for 7 years, learning the art of boxing. And have I still got a lot to learn? Of course I have. And everybody's got a lot to learn. I remember going down and sparring Anthony Joshua, and Rob McCracken would jump into the ring during the middle of the spar and be telling him what he needs to do. And you think, this is the 2-time world champion and Olympic gold medalist, and he's still getting taught how to turn his shots in. So no matter what level you get to, you're still learning. You're always learning, like anything. Like any sport, you're always learning. You can do everything better. So, but I would like to show people that I'm actually not a big dopey knockout artist. I'm not actually a bad boxer. And
man.
And hopefully I'll be able to showcase that in the next show. But listen, if somebody comes to fight and doesn't go on the back foot and isn't a negative boxer, I think the knockout's going to come regardless.
You've got good question. You've got that great equalizer, Steve, as well, though. So you've got that power punch, and not a lot of people have that garnered power in a fist. So you can be technical, but if you want to be rough, you use your power, don't you? That's like,
of course, and you'll see, Yeah, I think as a fighter, you know when. I mean, as I say, listen, when I get in that ring, it's Valhalla. It's me or him. And I think you when I caught him with the left hook and the right hook, he sort of stumbles backwards, and obviously I didn't realise that he was knocked out, because as he stumbles backward, he then stumbles forward. So that's why if you see the fight, I run over, because I'm just thinking he's hurt. I'm thinking he's stumbling backwards, so I'm running over to give him the straight right hand. But obviously, you know, he's took 2 steps back, he's took 2 steps forward, and he's fell. But you know, you've got to have that instinct. Listen, I'm the nicest kid in the world when it comes to, you know, I'll shake anybody's hand, I'll get a picture with anybody, I'll do anything for anybody. But when I'm in that ring, and that, you know, to come Thursday, I was talking to Reece and shook his hand, introduced myself. Come Friday at the weigh-in, I didn't want to talk to him. No disrespect to Reece. Yeah. Saturday night after the fight, I would have went and had, you know, a pint of soda water in line with him. But you know, come Friday, that you know, there's no Mr. Nice Guy. And come Saturday, come fight night, as I say, it's Valhalla. It's, you know, it's 300, it's me or him, and that's how that's always my mindset. And I know, unless you're carrying me out of that ring in a stretcher, there's no stopping us.
Good answer, Chris. Any more comments before we close out? Mark Lloyd, hello, frequent viewer for us on the show. Would Steve ever consider doing wrestling? Also, was he ever a fan now of wrestling? And Lewis Young's asked the same question on Facebook. Do you like wrestling? So yeah, just to encapsulate WWE and, you know, what you liked about WWE, and yeah, considering going into wrestling further down the line.
So my first ever show, it was 1997. It was a bit, funnily enough, I'm meant to be fighting in the arena when my first ever live show wasn't. We won tickets on the radio to go to the wrestling down at Birmingham in a meet and greet. And I remember it was Legion Doom versus the Headbangers for the tag team title. Stone Cold, Bret Hart, Vader, they were all there. And I remember going down and, you know, I got to meet and greet them all, and I got photos with everyone. I remember sitting in the arena and just being in awe of everything that was going on, and thinking in my head, one day I want to do this. You know, one day I want to walk down into an arena with thousands of people screaming and chanting and holding signs up. And for me, that meant from that day forward. And then about a year later, I went to my first football game, and it was, funny enough, it was Everton. It was Everton away, and it was in 2000. Sorry, it was Everton at home, and it was in the Carling Cup, and you beat one penalties. And I remember being at St James's Park thinking, like, you know, 9-year-old thinking, there's 52,000 people on a Tuesday night pissing down with rain, you know, singing, chanting, screaming. And I can remember just thinking, wow, like, this is what I want to do. And I got to do that the other day. And as I said, I live in an £80,000 council house, getting picked up off a 200 grand Bentley. You know, off Sky, and I'm sitting thinking, you know, people, all the kids in the street are getting the photos outside the Bentley, and I'm sitting the Sunday after, I'm sitting watching me Littlewoods telly that I pay 74 quid a month for, watching myself on Sky Sports knock someone out. It's still just like so surreal, and you know, every single day I'm pinching myself thinking this is. I'm just a kid. I'm just a kid from a normal family, a normal background with nothing, and never, you know, with a dream, and it's all happening. So, listen, I'd absolutely dream to be part of the wrestling one day, and you know, and get it. Listen, like mankind, they can chuck me off the top of the hell of the cell and table. And you know, as long as I get to be in an arena and be part of the wrestling, I'd absolutely love that. And like I say, regardless whether they use us to smash a 4x2 over my head or throws off a ladder, I couldn't give a shite as long as it happens. It would be an unbelievable. It would be, as I say, it was a dream. That was my first ever dream at 7-year-old, watching that at the Birmingham NEC, and you know, thinking one day I want to do that. So to one day do that, it would just be another tick on the bucket list.
What would you call
Awesome.
yourself? What would you be your wrestling name? Or knowing Vince, he'd look at you and go, "Oh, Drago, you'll be Russian." You can see
Disney
that.
Disney Drago or something. I just dress as like a Disney princess or something. I don't know. I'd have to have a think about that. It's a bit of a on the spot question, but yeah, it's definitely a dream I would love.
Heels rules, and me and Chris are in full agreement with you. Steve, you are too humble, but you're grounded. You can see that, and from talking to you today, which is a great quality to have, in amongst the pizzazz of boxing and everything that goes with it. Brett Thomas, how did you not get the Creed 2 part as his son? How did that not happen? Good question, Brett.
We actually applied for it. We actually applied for it. And funnily enough, they said that they got back. It was Mark, my boxing manager and coach, who applied for it. And I think they'd gotten back and said, "Oh, we're wanting somebody with a sort of Eastern European accent." And it didn't come off. And I think Dolph Lundgren wouldn't want us there because he owes us CSA. So if I had turned up, I would have been like, "Listen, I want some money. You've missed all my birthdays and Christmases. You pissed off to the shop 30 odd year ago, and you've never come back. So pay up." So I don't think he wanted us
there. What else have I got for you? Honest beyond reasonable.
Yeah. Honest beyond reasonable. Hi all. Steve, I can see beating AJ on his day. High praise indeed there from Honest Beyond Reasonable, Steve. Yeah. High praise indeed. What do you think of that comment, Steve?
Yeah. Listen. That's how that happened, right?
Yeah.
That's me and AJ there. He played the song as I walked in. Listen, I appreciate that, but like I've just said earlier, listen, I think a lot of people are criticising AJ at the minute, and he's not getting the credit he deserves. He's a gold medalist, a 2-time world champion. He's an unbelievable boxer, and people are saying, "Yeah, but he fought 17. He fought 17 people at the cup. Is the what coming to the end of the career? He fought a Parker, who had recently just been beat. He fought a Povetkin, who was retiring. He fought a Pulev, and Klitschko was retiring. Dillian Whyte was only his 5th fight in." And the bloke's an Olympic gold medalist, and he lives and breathes the sport. And did he do the best against Usyk? Was his tactics wrong? Yeah, but I think he knows that. He knows that. And the first fight against Ruiz was just, he had him down. He went in for the kill, and he got caught with a daft overhand looking shot at the top of the head. And he was, and it's heavyweight boxing, that can happen. But listen, give AJ the credit he deserves. He's a good boxer, and he's good for the sport. He's giving kids the reason to go get into the sport, and he started off the back of seeing his cousin to Gail win an Olympic medal, and his story's good, and he's a role model. He's a role model to kids, and I don't think he's getting it. Listen, I want to see him come back against Usyk, use his weight, bully him, throw him around. For instance, people sitting criticising my last performance. Was Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder 3 the best fight? Was it? It was shocking from a boxing perspective. But did Tyson Fury do what he needed to do? Bully him, get into his head, hurt him, and just, give everything he's got and just throw him around and manhandle him? Yeah, that's what he done. He got the win. He got the belt. So was Klitschko the best boxer? Smash, grab, jab, grab, hit, 2-1-2, grab. But did he hold the titles for X amount of years? Is he living the best life, on a farm in Kiev with millions of pounds in his bank? Yeah. So people can sit and call people, and I know that question. I know you were, by the way, mate. I know you were calling Joshua, and I appreciate the fact that you're saying that. But listen, Joshua's a phenomenal fighter, and I've spent a lot of time with him down the GB team. And I've sparred with him, and I think the bloke gets doesn't get the credit he deserves off the back of a couple of losses, and listen, he's over now. Let's see what he can do against Usyk in the rematch.
It becomes
titles back to the UK for what?
If he becomes a three-time champion as well, what an incredible story! Again, he's I know he's got to go into Usyk's backyard for this rematch supposedly in February. And just before we move on from that, what do you think about Rob McCracken not training him now, because he's been with him for a number of years through Team GB? Do you think that's the right option, bringing somebody else in to change the way, potentially? What are your thoughts on that before we go?
Definitely. Rob McCracken was asking Anthony Joshua to box a better boxer. And that, he was falling short of the jab. He was jabbing like that. He was pouring. And, that overhand right was catching it as well. Overhand left, because he's southpaw, was catching him every single time. Because if he had rammed that jab in and held it stiff and then grabbed him, it would have and threw him around. He's like me. He's a natural 6'7", 17 stone man. That's his natural weight. Usyk's first fight was at light heavy. His first amateur fight was at light heavyweight. So his natural weight, obviously now he's took shape into his body, and he's carrying 15.5, 16 stone. But a natural 17.5 stone man should be just absolutely bullying him. And I think Rob McCracken is an unbelievable coach when it comes to boxing. And he was getting Joshua to try and work on things that wasn't working. And unfortunately, I think off the back of, I don't know if you've seen the IFL TV interview last night, that was an hour long with Joshua. I don't know if you've watched that yet, or anybody
not yet.
Yeah, I watched it last night as well.
It's
not yet.
A good one. And I think Joshua, like he says, I'm fucking sick of losing. I'm sick of everything that's going on, and I know what I need to do, and I think he's doing the right thing. But him and Rob won't fall out. He'll stick with him, and you'll have him there in the corner. And if Rob's any type of real man, he'll appreciate that he's moving on. He'll be there to help him, and he'll be there to guide him. Mark said to me, if somebody comes in and offers you something that I can't, I'll let you go. And I think anyone as a friend and as a boxing coach will do that. You just want the best for the fighter, and I think Anthony will go away, and I think he'll put on a stone, and I think he'll really, really rough Usyk up, because he knows that's the only way to beat him.
He mentioned a lot in that interview as well. Sorry, Stu.
No, you're all right. Carry on.
Wanting to go out on his shield, didn't he? He said he wants to go out on his shield. He said in that interview yesterday, as well as saying he would be open to train with Tyson Fury as well for the fight, which, I think that's big news as well. I think they both can teach each other a lot of things as well. Not obviously give too much away, because we do want them to come together and fight at some point. But I think he was really honest about himself in that interview.
100%.
And it was good to see. I found it really refreshing to have Anthony Joshua not play to sort of TV and just actually be Anthony Joshua and be honest about himself.
Yeah, it was. Like I say, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And to be honest, I enjoyed the ones with Gary Neville. When they were both sitting talking to Gary Neville on YouTube. Another two great interviews, and if people haven't watched them, they're another two good watches. And I think he knows. Oh, I'm just getting a low battery.
No problem, Steve.
This might turn off.
Chris, any more comments before we close out with Steve, because he's busy today with stuff going on?
I know.
Just to close out,
I'll give you a football one, Steve.
Hey, all right, Dan Terrasporting again. Is Steve a Newcastle football fan? Also, we know the answer to this. What's he making of the takeover? Now, I wanted to ask you this, but Dan's putting it to you, which is great. A bit of football to close out.
Dan, do you know what it is? It's pissing us off, all these people saying that's a disgrace. Newcastle are the richest club in the world. It's this, it's that. It's, you've got jealous. Politicians are bringing it up. Keir Starmer's bringing it up. Listen, and then same dickheads will be the ones buying World Cup tickets and going to Qatar. A place that have got the exact same same beliefs as Saudi, right? But the same people who are sitting calling will be going to Qatar and they'll be buying World Cup tickets. So everybody can piss off and appreciate with being a shit team, right? With 52,000 people in the championships, still we had the highest attendance ever in a championship. There's still 52,000 people. There'll not be a Newcastle fan in the world says they like Mike Ashley, but we're still sold out. Every single ticket. There's still 60,000 people waiting for a season ticket year in, year out, right? And we've done this with no glory for 58 years, okay? So now, we've become the richest club in the world, and I think we deserve the fact that we're an unbelievable supporting team. I think we are really, really, we just love our club. And that's not just football. 3,500 people go to the basketball. They had to make a basketball arena because they were too big at the local university. There was only 800 tickets, so they had to go and make a 3,500 seater. They had to go and make a new ice rink for Whitley Bay. Because there was too many people wanting tickets to the game. So you've got basketball, you've got ice hockey, sports that Newcastle was such and look at the arena the other day. There was 11,000 people at the arena, there for boxing, and no matter what, I can guarantee 52,000 people. If Savannah Marshall and Clarissa Shields end up fighting for a title in a year's time, that'll happen at St James's Park, and there'll be 52,000 people there. We're a very, very proud, loyal. It's a beautiful city, and I think we deserve what's happening to us. I really do. Off the back of all the shit that we've had, Mike Ashley, I think we deserve this.
What a city! What a city in general.
Yes,
yeah,
city.
They don't come more bigger for passion in world sports than up there up in the north on the Toon, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
I
appreciate that, because there's too many people saying that we don't deserve it and it's a disgrace. And
what would the other clubs be doing? If Everton had the buyout for the amount of money they're worth, who's gonna turn it down? Who's not gonna love the fact that you could be dominant in another couple of years?
Yeah, but we're not dominant, Stuart. We had all that money and we spent it on shit.
But when you look at what Usmanov and Mashiri are worth, and then you look at the Saudi takeover, it's just next level how much they're worth. It's crazy. Yes. But then FFP, lads, it's going to be the financial fair play then, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's beautiful because because Mike Ashley, the dickhead, hasn't spent any money, and we've been constantly in profit. We're allowed to spend 700 million. That's the FFP. So
okay.
I've seen that.
Listen, why don't we bring Townsend back?
No, you're not having him back.
You can have him back, but it's gonna.
Have them both.
No, you're not. He won't come to you.
No,
you can have him.
Fantastic. Chris, anything else before we get Steve to plug his socials like Instagram where people can find him before we go?
Brett's got one final one there.
There you go, Brett. There you are, Steve. Thanks, Steve. You've been a great guest.
He put that in at the end as well.
Andy likes the pulls, so yeah, you got a new follower.
Did you see the Mike Tyson interview the other day when he was? Yeah, look, my wife loved them people, man. The beautiful wet beaches, man. I fucking love them. Man. I was just sitting. The bloke, Mike Tyson. He's just a little stoner now and just loves life, doesn't he? It's unbelievable. Everything I watch about him, I just sit and smile from start to finish. He's just, he's found God. He's found the sort of ritual side of life. He's sitting licking toads and smoking trees, and he's a new man.
and he will be fighting Logan Paul in February. So
I'll look forward to that. I really will.
Steve, where can the viewers find you? I know you're on Instagram, so where can they find you, mate, and follow your quest as you go up from 4-0?
I'm only on Instagram, and it's Stephen Robinson _USSR, and I appreciate all the following. I appreciate the support of everybody. I appreciate you guys having us on. Everybody who's watching live now, commenting. Like I say, I'm just a normal kid from a council house, and and you know, this is everything that's happening in my life is just surreal. And you know, as I said earlier, I'm a big believer. Anybody can do anything with the right mindset and the right people around them. So anybody who is watching, who wants, you know, who's got kids who are suffering at school, or suffering, you know, or use as people watching, if you know, if there is a job you want, or there is a sports team you want to go and join, or there is a club you want to join, or a gym, just do it, because you know there's too many people live life and with too many regrets. In 10-year time, you become too old. And listen, like I say, just everybody who's watching, everybody who's, you know, supporting, just go and do something with yourself, and you won't regret it. And you know, give it a try, no matter what it is, and you know, give it your all, and it'll work out. It'll work out for you.
Fantastic, great viewpoints there. Good, you know, the youngsters will take a lot from that, absolutely. And yeah, thank you very much, Steve.
Thank
USSR Robinson, Drago 2.0. We've got to get that in as well, for coming on for a special fight of focus. And we look forward to seeing what's coming up with you with Boxer, hopefully November and December. And we'll get you back on pre-fight.
It's been a pleasure, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, mate. Thank you very much.
Absolute star, mate. Absolute star. We look up to you, mate. Absolutely.
Lovely.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you very much. Take care, everybody watching.
And
thank you for watching as well.
Take care, mate.
Bye-bye.
See you, mate.
Absolutely fantastic there. And we will be back at 3 p.m. for the latest for UFC 267. Chris has been waiting.
267 heavy this week.
And then the following week as well, Chris, which you've been waiting for. You know, you've got 268 back to back. You've been waiting for this. But yeah, just to go back to Steve Robinson there, what a fantastic insight into his career. It was good talking about the football there, WWE, wasn't it, Chris? Really enjoyed that. It was fantastic. What a guy.
It's an inspiration, you know, we've been talking about, you know, going off and doing things that, you know, you want to do. This is what we started the show is. We want to do the show. And I find it's really inspiring, because obviously we don't get told we can't do it, but we do this because we love the sport. And it's like, you know, it's good to have that inspiration from the guy as well.
Absolutely. So yes, we will be back. It will be episode 36, because we've just done 35 as a special fight of focus. So yeah, thank you for all your comments for Steve as well. And as we said, pre-fight, they're looking at scheduling him for November or December, Boxer. So we will try and get him back on, won't we, Chris, before the fight happens?
Yeah, 100% we will.
Okie dokie. See you all at 3 o'clock across Facebook and YouTube, and podcast form hopefully by tomorrow for both episodes.
Right, we'll see you in a few short hours.